New for Sunday on ITV.
Somebody, somewhere, was poisoning jars of baby food and blackmailing the companies who made them. He wanted £100,000 a year for 5 years. If not, he would contaminate their baby foods with caustic soda.
A true story of ruthless extortion.
You fit the description of a man we're hunting in connection with a serious crime, and I want to search you.
Michael Winner's True Crimes, Sunday.
Well, in 20 minutes' time, Richard Digeance's guests include extraordinary ventriloquist Brian Lovering and pianist Mark Cohn. That's following that, the movie premiere of Martyn's Day, starring Richard Harris and Lindsay Wagner. Right now, though, over to ITN.
The news from ITN.
Yugoslavian ceasefire is on again, just. Labour says government must open up BCCI inquiry. Kidnap victim tells of his 18-hour ordeal. And Bobin reminds the selectors that he's there for the picking. Good evening. Croatia agreed to a ceasefire tonight, ordered by Yugoslavia's presidency in an attempt to stop 6 weeks of bloody ethnic unrest. But a special session of Croatia's parliament rejected the appointment of a Serbian ally to supervise the truce. Tensions between the two republics further increased as Croatia voted to freeze relations with Serbia. They accuse Serbia of promoting terrorism and trying to take over part of Croatia.
Attitudes are hardening in Yugoslavia. Today, Croatia's parliament voted in a new prime minister and cabinet, prepared to take a tougher stance over the crisis with Serbia. As diplomacy falters, Croatia's politicians are under increasing pressure from their electorate to declare war. In an angry outburst, Stipe Mesic, the Croatian-born federal president, urged his people to reject the latest ceasefire plan drawn up by Yugoslavia's collective presidency. He claimed the force that will police it is itself controlled by the Serbian-dominated government. The 3 European foreign ministers here to negotiate a peaceful settlement warned of the consequences of rejecting a ceasefire.
I would say on behalf of EC that any party that would be in the way or that would obstruct the establishment of such a ceasefire and a credible monitoring of such a situation, will have a very heavy responsibility on its shoulders, because that would mean that the dynamic of force would continue to prevail.
Certainly, the force of gun law still prevailed in the disputed areas of Croatia today after yet more sporadic fighting. Several villages have changed hands again in this war of attrition and propaganda. Nobody can be sure whose shells have really inflicted the damage, as both Serbs and Croats accuse each other of aggression. Today, these armed and nervous Serbians escorted us into their village, which has been surrounded by Croatian police for almost 2 months. They said Blinja had been left with no public transport, no telephones, no power. At the village shop, many shelves were bare, their food was running out, and no supplies were allowed through. After 45 years of peaceful coexistence, Croatia's fight for independence had turned their neighbours into enemies. These Serbians had only taken up arms to defend their village. They had no desire for a greater Serbia. Ethnic harmony within Yugoslavia was all they asked. This Serbian village is now totally cut off by Croatian police. The people of Blinja say they have no argument with the Croatians. They want peace. But there's now so much fear and distrust, they believe that a ceasefire simply can't work. Jeremy Thompson, ITN, on the front line between the Serbians and the Croatians.
Labour says it fears a possible cover-up over the fraud scandal at the Bank of Credit and Commerce International. The Shadow Environment Minister, Brian Gould, says the Bingham inquiry into the affair must be held in public, or, as he put it, we can only conclude that a cover-up is going on. Mr Kinnock has written to the Prime Minister questioning the decision to hold the inquiry in secret when Mr Major had said it would be open.
A fortnight ago, the Prime Minister used the word open 3 times in 2 days when talking about the BCCI inquiry. It would have open access to all necessary information and people, he said. And after another reference the previous day to an open inquiry, Mr Major continued,
all evidence, all people, including ministers, including myself, will be open to answer to that inquiry.
But it's Labour's claim that Lord Justice Bingham's inquiry will be anything but open. They cite the press release he issued 2 days ago, asking for written evidence, after which oral evidence from witnesses invited to appear before the inquiry will be given in private. In his letter today, Mr. Kinnock asks why Mr. Major didn't tell the House that at the time, and that if he's changed his mind since then, why he hasn't said so. Failure to set up open hearings, Labour says, can only lead to suspicions of a cover-up.
If the Prime Minister is to show that he has nothing to hide, this inquiry must be held in public, no ifs and buts, otherwise we can only conclude that there is a cover-up going on.
But tonight, government sources are still insisting that in order to protect witnesses and the confidential information which they may have, the hearings must be in private. But Labour say that to get round that, just the sensitive parts of the hearings could be held behind closed doors. Michael Brunson, ITN, Westminster.
A Tesco supermarket manager has been talking about the decision he made to give in to the demands of an armed gang holding his family hostage. James Andrews collected ransom money from the tills of his store at Ipswich. The kidnappers released his wife and sons after they received the cash.
At the police station where he and his family have been questioned since their release, James Andrews spoke for the first time of the lonely hours he spent agonising over whether or not he should bring in the police to help free his family.
My family and children were taken away, and I had specific instructions to follow, and not following those instructions, I was left in no doubt as to what the consequences would be, that my family would be killed. The whole of the next day I was left with a decision to make alone. I couldn't communicate with anyone else whatsoever for fear of what the repercussions would be. But yes, a couple of times I did decide, as I discussed with one of my superiors very recently, that there was a couple of times when I felt like ringing him and asking him for help, but that just meant that somebody else knew, and the more people that knew, there's more could go wrong.
It was on Thursday night that the gang of 3 or 4 men burst into the Andrews home in Colchester, brandishing 2 sawn-off shotguns. The following day, Mr. Andrews was instructed to go to the Tesco's supermarket in Ipswich, where he's the manager. He confided in a handful of colleagues, and they helped him take £55,000 from the tills. He drove it to a pre-arranged car park, where he left it in the boot of his car. His family, who'd been kept tied up in the back of a car for 11 hours, were found later in a woods 20 miles away. Mr. Andrews said they had all coped remarkably well, but were only now beginning to realise what might have happened. Harry Smith, ITN, Colchester.
The PLO leader Yasser Arafat tonight accused Israel of blackmailing the United States into accepting all its conditions for attending a Middle East peace conference. Speaking from the PLO headquarters in Tunis, Mr. Arafat said Israel forced the Americans into banning the PLO or Palestinian representatives from Jerusalem attending the conference. But the PLO leader indicated he was still prepared to make peace with the Israelis and called on them to make the next move. 7 Lithuanian border guards shot dead at their posts on Wednesday have been given ceremonial funerals. Up to 100,000 people lined the streets of the capital Vilnius to watch the coffins carried through. The identity of the killers is unknown, although the Lithuanian parliament has accused Soviet troops of carrying out the attack. Here, handline mackerel fishermen in Devon and Cornwall say they're willing to go to prison to defy new fishing restrictions. They claim new quotas, which restrict them to just 1% of the total mackerel quota, will force them out of business. And they say that will end a fishing tradition that goes back hundreds of years.
With dawn still a promise, the landliners assemble at Penberth Cove for their ritual morning inspection of the sea. This morning, with some reservations, it was adjudged just about calm enough to launch their little 16 and 17-foot boats and to go for the mackerel. The boats have to be manhandled down the slipway, everyone lending a hand in this community, which, like some of the fish off Britain's shores, is under threat. New quotas mean that handliners will only be able to catch in a year what they used to catch in a month. The handliners say that unlike the trawlermen and the purse seiners, their traditional basic method of fishing is hardly likely to seriously damage fish stocks, so they argue they should be free of quotas altogether. Or have a special one of their own instead of having to compete with giant Scottish factory ships. The handliners have asked the government for help, Meanwhile, there are mutinous mutterings ashore about ignoring the quota altogether.
We decided unanimously at a meeting not so long ago that we would defy any ban in order to be able to, I mean, none of the handliners are going to become millionaires. We just want to be able to make a living the same as we always have.
And that's all Billy's father wants, the chance to continue the tradition begun by his grandfather. And if he has to, he'll defy the quota too. Vernon Mann, ITN, in Penworth Cove, Cornwall.
Now, with news of Ian Botham's bid to be recalled to the England team and the rest of the day's sports news, here's David Bobin.
The England cricket selectors were meeting today to pick the team for the final test at the Oval next week. In an effort to square the series, speculation's growing that there could be changes. But Lancashire's Mike Atherton may have done enough to save his place with an unbeaten 114 against Yorkshire. A popular choice for a return would be David Gower. The former England captain hit 40 today at Lord's, and in the same match, spin bowler Phil Tufnell will have done his chances no harm with 7 wickets against Hampshire. But at Worcester, 2 more candidates, Dermot Reeve and Ian Botham, were also hoping to catch the selector's eye.
Of all the England candidates, none lives more in hope than Ian Botham. Picked for the one-day games, then forced out through injury, his summer has been spent waiting for the recall, which just hasn't come. Today, a long and tidy bowling spell started badly, but improved as Worcestershire's full day in the field went on and on. Warwickshire's Dermot Reeve is also on the fringes of the England reckoning. Today, he put together an innings which Boycott himself would have been proud of. But after 4 1/4 hours, he was on 97 and gave his wicket away in bizarre fashion, stumped by Rhodes after wandering aimlessly down the wicket. But if Reeve doesn't make the Test side this season, it could well be Botham's last chance to star on the big stage. Just 1 wicket today, but a big score yesterday. Many say he's the man to help win the last Test.
You owe it to the British public to go out there and try and win it, and you pick a side that you think might win that game for you. If I'm lucky enough to be picked in that squad, well, so be it.
It could be a time for experience as well.
Well, I don't think there's any substitute for experience, and that's why it'd be nice to get a crack, and it'd be perhaps quite nice if David Gower got a shout as well, because there's not many better players than him in the world.
Graham Dilley had the last word today, finally prizing Warwickshire out just 8 short of avoiding the follow-on. Peter Staunton, ITN Sport, Worcester.
The start of the football season is just 2 weeks away, and the league champions Arsenal plus newly promoted West Ham were warming up by competing in the Makita Trophy tournament at Highbury. It didn't take West Ham long to discover that the Italian champions weren't here just to shake hands. 12 minutes of the game gone, and Sealash corner was hit home by Busso. 7 minutes later, and it was 2-0. Busso second, and West Ham knew they were in trouble. In fairness, they were without 4 key players, but after the break it became a real stroll for Sampdoria. Cerezo made it 3. Then came the best goal of the match, Busso's hat-trick from a superb chip on the hour. There was some small consolation for the Hammers when a defensive mix-up allowed George Paris to pull 1 back. But straight from the restart, the Italians went away to emphasise the quality of their play, Lombardo with number 5. Then came Busso's 4th to make it West Ham 1, Sampdoria 6. And tomorrow the Italians meet Arsenal in the final. They were playing the Greek double winners Panathinaikos, and the Gunners won it with this goal, David Rocastle finishing off a move set up by Anders Limpar. A useful workout for George Graham's team, with the league season just 2 weeks away. Meanwhile, Peter Beardsley, Everton's new £1 million signing, marked his first appearance for the club with a goal in their 6-0 win against Glentoran. One of the highlights of international sailing, the Admiral's Cup, is underway in the Solent as part of Cowes Week, with Great Britain taking on 7 other nations in the first offshore race.
Great Britain, the holders of the Champagne Mum Admiral's Cup, are locked in a tight battle with Italy for Ocean Racing's World Championship. Going into the second race out of 6, the British team of Juno, Wings of Oracle and Paul Pendennis are second among the 8 nations. Italy are leading. Mandrake, a class winner in the first inshore contest, was shadowed by Juno, skippered by Olympic gold medalist Mike McIntyre. The Danes led the 24 yachts out of the Solent in the 200-mile Channel race, and the latest news is that Britain could fall further behind. Despite Port Pendennis leading the small boat category, Wings of Oracle and Juno are struggling in the light winds, conditions which favour their Mediterranean rivals. The first yachts are expected to finish later tonight. Meanwhile, the Royal Yacht Britannia has anchored off Cowes for the traditional Sailing Week festival. The Princess Royal's children, Peter and Zara, watched their mother crew a small traditional keelboat, while the Duke of Edinburgh preferred something much bigger. Gareth Evans, ITN, the Solent.
And that's all from the newsroom so far tonight, from me and the rest of the weekend team. Good evening.
Good evening. Well, as is often the case, the easiest way to sort out tomorrow's weather is to look at today's satellite picture to see what's coming our way. This sequence started this morning when there was a band of cloud out to the west. That's been moving east slowly during today, breaking up all the time, in fact, producing just one or two odd bits of showers and some mist in the south. But behind me, here's tomorrow's weather, some sunshine, I think, for most of England and Wales tomorrow. Right at the top of the screen, thicker cloud. That's set to bring some rain for Northern Ireland and Western Scotland during tomorrow. So let's come on to tomorrow's weather in more detail then. For England and Wales, first of all, a fine day, I think. Lots of sunshine tomorrow. One or two patches of cloud around as usual, but really a dry and sunny day. On the eastern side of Scotland too, getting off to a fairly reasonable start with some sunny spells there. But right from the start of the day, further west over Northern Ireland and western parts of Scotland, you'll have more in the way of cloud. Some thicker cloud, I think, over Northern Ireland, with a few spots of rain in the west during the morning. And then during the day, freshening southwesterly winds, probably fairly strong winds, I think, before the day is out. They'll carry thicker cloud right across Northern Ireland and across many other parts of Scotland too. But all the time, the heaviest of any rain will stay in the west. As you can see, some mist patches around too. Temperatures in the best of the sunshine around 24, that's 75. Cooler in the misty northwest, 18 is only about 64. That's it from me then. There's the sunset times for tomorrow evening and tomorrow's summary. Good night.
And now the forecast for the HTV area. It should be a brighter day tomorrow with some warm sunshine at times and temperatures up to 23 degrees Celsius, that's 73 degrees Fahrenheit, with a light or moderate southwesterly breeze. And the outlook for Monday, staying dry, sunny and warm. That's the end of the forecast.
The Somerset market town of Frome. The scene of the crime, the grape and grain off-licence at Badcocks. A 19-year-old girl who works part-time was preparing to shut up shop for the evening. She just turned off the main lights and was about to disconnect the till when a man came in. He walked up to the counter and produced a sheath knife from one of two bags. He motioned towards the till, asking for money. The girl quickly picked up the phone. The man left the shop and made off towards the Broadway. He was in his early 30s, medium build, wearing sunglasses, a tan woolly hat, and a bright orange anorak with ARC printed on the back. If you can help find this man, ring Crimestoppers on 0800 555 111. The police are waiting for your call. Do it now.
Take home a Gino Ginelli, ice cream on Piazza Italia, toffee, fudge, chocolate, mint choc cheap, tutti frutti, what a cutie, take a Gino home with you.
Gino Ginelli, the ice cream sensation.
Gino, oh Gino Ginelli.
Natrel Plus. Natrel protection.
Hey, honey, do you hear that? A crisp that melts? That ain't natural. Weird city. Crispy things don't melt, they crunch. Fact of life. What do you say, Crispo? Crunch.
Oh, my beautiful home.
Well, just maybe.
Frizzly on my tongue. Wow!
Melt City. Hey, soppin' up, soppin' up.
Yeah, liquid ice.
I'll never regret volunteering to be a nurse. But I regretted having to give so much blood. I don't regret getting married. I just regret being such a Mark Bolan fan. I never regret starting the catering business. But for a while, I didn't really have the stomach for it. I've never regretted buying Hitachi. I just wonder how all the sex and violence affects my kids.
Alongside the Dettol you trust, there's a brand new Dettol with a fresh new smell. New Dettol Fresh. Have you sniffed it out yet?
Fraud Squad. Tonight's episode, The Secret Assignment.
I'm going to the bar, Al. Cover me.
What can I get you?
Screwdriver.
Anything to drink?
What's that?
Just cider.
This isn't just cider. Fraud Squad, hold it, sister. This is Red Rock. You see, it's less gassy with no strong aftertaste. It's a different kind of cider altogether. It's less gassy with no strong aftertaste. It's a different kind of cider. Booker, Al.
Are you available on the 15th?
Red Rock Cider. It's not red, and there's no rocks in it.
At 10:25 tomorrow night, the spotlight is on male sexuality in Sex Now. Yvonne Roberts asks whether men are just interested in one thing, and are they interested in becoming better lovers? You can find out the answers tomorrow night. Back to tonight, following the movie premiere at 12:40, music from the Bangor Festival. That's all coming up later on, but right now, more laconic wit from Richard Digeance.
Better, you know, to get a better colour. Yeah, but not if it's going to be... Don't you just hate it when that happens?
Fosters, don't you just love it?
Hello there. In here are 20 piranha fish, keenest meat eaters known to mankind. Let's see what they think of a few snacks, shall we? Not too impressed with the beef flavour ones. Not exactly enamoured of these bacon flavour corn snacks either. Let's see how they like Peperami, the tangy snack made from 100% pure meat. Well, that confirms it. Meat lovers everywhere prefer Peperami to anything. Well, almost anything.
Get your teeth into a Peperami.
Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin. Every day, we catch 1,000 people sitting in front of their TV sets without a TV license. Still sitting comfortably?
Attenzione, prego, questa è l'ultima chiamata.
Now old Mr. Johnson loved to hula hoop all day. He had a yellow cap that didn't feel that way. But the cat came back to sample all his hula. But the cat came back, he just wouldn't stay away.
This weekend, all roads lead to Halfords Discount Drive Sale, with huge sale savings on power oil down to $2.79, Simonized liquid diamond polish, Spark-White car alarms, and a Halfords price promise on all rally bikes. The Discount Drive Sale 91 on now. Thank Halfords for that.
Today is Arthur's birthday, and his favorite present just has to be his can of special recipe Kattomeat. It certainly has more taste than the kipper his auntie gave him. 5 special recipes from Kattomeat, tested and approved by Arthur.
From the producers of The Hunt for Red October comes Danny Glover, Willem Dafoe, Brad Johnson in Flight of the Intruder, available to rent from August 16th.
Well, couldn't let anything come between me and my Kaliber.
Unforgettable, that's what you are. Like a song of love that clings to me, how the thought of you does things to me, thinks that I am unforgettable too.
Nighttime starts with the movie premiere of Martyn's Day next.
The Vale of Neath. People come here not just because it's one of the most beautiful places in Wales, but because there's so much more besides. Kevin Coyd Colliery Museum is a fascinating place. The history of mining is brought to life in this former colliery. A huge winding engine, mining equipment, and a simulated underground mining gallery recreates life in a coal mine. Forest walks and picnic areas round off a perfect day out. All in the Vale of Neath, the natural place to visit. Ring Neath 633 531 for details.
The Invisible Man isn't worried about catching his flight. He knows he can trust Federal Express, the worldwide air express package carrier, because when they say they'll deliver on time, they mean on time. Federal Express, when it absolutely, positively has to be there on time.